Here we are at Hendy State Park in Mendocino County. It's almost 10:07 p.m. and campground is full. I'm gonna have to end up sleeping in the car somewhere other than the campground, which is no big deal because I would just be sleeping in the car here anyway. So it really doesn't make that much of a difference to me. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave the park, take a right, go down to the bridge, which is right around the corner outside of the park, where people go swimming, and there's a bunch of cars parked there 20 minutes ago when I pulled in. They probably go swimming or something down there by the river. I'm gonna go park there and sleep there. Maybe take my chair down to the river if I can. Hang out. Here we go. I'm entering the forest in a second here. It's going to be dark. It's a little foot trail through the grass over there, but let's go check out some redwood trees instead. Here's some bird sounds. Sound like baby birds. Very high-pitched squeaking. Oh yeah, it's real dark in here. Beautiful. Already have the redwood trees, and presumably, I think this one right here, pretty sure this is some type of oak. And we got these giant ferns down here. These are some nice looking trees, very old growth. Huge oak trees. Look at how big that is. I mean, I don't know if the camera will show it that well or not. There goes my music, no problem. Oh wait, how crazy is that? Still have service in the middle of these redwoods. I love to touch them. This is a monster back here. Thank you. Thank you for being here. This is a big ass tree. Oh my God. This is a huge one. Oh man. Had a great day. Went to, I think it's pronounced Ucale. I'd have to look it up. But I went to I'm gonna take the Discovery Trail. Yeah, I went to the skate park in, I believe, Ucale. Another monster over here. Holy cow. Thanks. This is a good tree. Let me see if I'm recording. Looks like it. But yeah, the bark is as old as this forest is. You can still see that it looks like the bark is burnt. Testament to the time frame that it takes to grow to such a massive size. These trees are really Just incredible. They're probably almost 200 feet tall by the looks of it. I mean, yeah, they're way up there. Not a whole lot of light coming through, although I can see the sky quite a bit. The angle of the light is low right now, so that would not be coming through. Just unbelievable. Look at that root system. I mean, that's like 10 feet high. It's really crazy. And it's so quiet in here. Oh my goodness. Oh man. This tree and the remnants of this tree are what used to be. And if you look up, just look at this hole as compared to the surroundings. I mean, the impact that one tree going down has. This would be a sunny spot. Yeah. See what we got here? Nothing. Nothing. Well. Oh man. Back on my way on the trail. It's just such tall trees. I'm gonna take a look. One of the things that is completely insane is that there is a type of bird that is a category of bird called an alcid. The species name goes by marbled murrelet. And this species of pelagic seabird lives its entire life on the deep ocean waters, except for when they fly inland to nest in these redwood trees. And it's really crazy. I mean, seabirds do really crazy things. I mean, there was just recently I was reading that there was a species of petrel, another seabird, very different from an alcid. Alcids are not it's even crazier that they nest in these trees because they're not built for flying, really. They're built for diving and swimming. They have really short wings and large bodies proportionately. They're kind of football shaped. Their wings are short and stubby, sort of like resembling a penguin. Although these are not flightless birds, obviously. They're flying into the redwood trees. So anyway, seabirds do insane things for nesting. And back to my story of the petrel. Just recently, within the past couple of years, there was a species. Wow, look at that. There was a species of petrel. No one previously had ever known where this species nested, when a couple of years ago they were discovered nesting in this completely desolate desert of Chile. There's absolutely nothing out there. It's like a sand field as far as the eye can see. And sure, why not? It's a great place for nesting seabird, right? Why not? just like the marbled murrelets that nest in these redwood trees, there are some really crazy strategies that these birds use for nesting. I mean, obviously they can't nest in the water where they live their entire lives. Their ability to fly, even if not the greatest I mean, the petrels are incredible flyers. They very different than a murrelet that swims and spends most of its life in the water. There was a downy woodpecker that just sang. But yeah, the petrels spend almost their entire lives on the wing, flying. And there is a species of petrel called a Wilson's storm petrel that is actually thought to be the most abundant species of bird in the world. And it's a bird that most people have never heard of or seen. They're a really little bird, and I'm going to have to guess they're about 6 inches, roughly. Little black-brown colored, base-colored bird. They're a tube nose. They have... and they have like this white patch on their rump, which is the sub-terminal end on the top side of the tail. Or I'm sorry, not sub-terminal. It's like it's where the tail and the rear end of the bird meet. There's a white patch. And here you have people. And anyway, the Wilson's storm petrel spends pretty much its entire life at sea. Once again, other than nesting, which actually, I don't know where they nest. I never looked into it. Let me look it up right now. Actually, I can show you what they look like too. Here's the Wilson storm petrel. There's the white rump that I was talking about. Look at how funny the head and their beak looks. And now we have nesting grounds. The sub-Antarctic. Wow. So that's down in the southern hemisphere, mainly from May to August, rare in the northern Pacific. So they're not found often here. Feeds on plankton in flight. It courses low over the water with shallow wing beats and short glides. Yeah, so the storm petrels do this dancing on top of the water that's really cool to see, and I've seen it before, where they'll fly in to the surface of the water and they land with their feet on the surface of the water, keeping their wings spread open. Obviously they can't walk on the water for real, they're hovering sort of, and they like pitter patter their feet on the top of the water, and it looks like they're walking, but they're gleaning plankton, which is their primary source of food. So these birds are living their lives out on the open oceans, but they have to come into land somewhere to nest. I hear a brown creeper. It's just a really high-pitched single whistle note sound. I'm going to imitate it. Not perfect, but that's generally what they sound like. So, yeah, I'm going to have to look up nest colonies of Wilson's storm petrels. So think of that. They nest on the open ocean, or I'm sorry, in the sub-Antarctic in the southern hemisphere. And yet they're found throughout the world's oceans, all throughout the globe, and they are one of the most widely spread and most abundant species of birds on Earth, as most of their habitat that they live in, I mean, it's something like 73% of the Earth that is covered by ocean. So, wow, this is cool. So presumably here, I would guess that an old tree fell from here, leaving this hole in the ground. And if you look up, it didn't happen anytime recently. And I don't see where the tree is. I'm guessing the Park Service here took care of it somehow or another at some point in time. It comes, it comes, it comes and goes. Listomania. I looked up what that means one time. I want to think it was a French musician who was like during the Renaissance period, I believe, if I'm not misremembering. And he was like the first musician who was like a pop hero, like a sensational artist, where he was a cigar smoker and he would throw his cigar butts into the crowd, and the people would freak out trying to just have any piece of anything that was connected to this guy. He was sensationalized, and he was the first of that kind of artist, according to the legend, according to the story that I read. And I don't know the guy's real name, but they referred to the sensationalism as listomania. So, people are so interesting. I mean, we're animals. We have storm petrels that nest in the desert. We have murrelets that nest in redwood trees. Crazy things that animals do. One of the crazy things that the human animal does. I mean, the list is very long. I mean, I couldn't even, this is not the time to start a full dive into this conversation. But we can talk about that in another time. We'll go this way for a little bit. Look at this. Is this one tree? Or is it 3 trees? And what do you think? Doesn't it make you question what is an individual? Could you call this 1, or could you call it 3? And if you called it one or the other, would you be right or would you be wrong? Or neither? And I think it's a pretty overlooked thing to think about, because individuality, as we experience it as human beings, I think it's an illusion of sorts, in a way. I mean, I think that we certainly have independent consciousnesses, but that doesn't mean that we are not together as a unit. And there's a lot of human behavior that takes place on the scale of the human superorganism, as I like to call it, that we're not consciously aware of on a day-to-day basis in the moment. Like the fact that we all go to work, we all cultivate, and we all consume, and we all create, and we all manipulate our surroundings, our tools, our environment. When you zoom out, when you experience these things on the scale of an individual human, you don't really think that much about it. Like, this is just what we do. When you zoom out and you look at the human collective as a third-party observer from above, as shown so artistically, beautifully, and brilliantly in the movie Samsara, it can give you a new definition of the human species, perspective that really is not prevalent to our awareness. But make no mistake that the earth is very well aware. Make no mistake that birds that fly from above are more aware than you might think. Bet you the airplane pilots who fly internationally are pretty aware of this, to an extent, if they're paying attention. But even then, it's just one perspective from a pilot seat. You gotta see, if you haven't, you really should watch the movie Samsara and watch it from the thinking angle of a naturalist, and as a just a third-party observer, removed from the day-to-day and watching it from afar. It's really, we are what we are, just like the storm petrels are what they are. You might think it's crazy, insane, for a little tiny seabird that eats plankton to go nest in the middle of a wide open desert. But one thing's for sure, there can't be very many predators out there. They have a very good line of sight, and they're adapted to survive doing it. So that might be crazy to us, but what we do is crazy too. We're all practicing our modes of survival. There are many different metrics of measurement for what is success. And while we can manipulate the environment, and while we could, in a one-on-one battle, overcome almost any species on Earth, it's not true to think that we could overcome every species on Earth. We are a part of Earth, and we must live with it. We would not be able to survive in the absence of plants, in the absence of grass, or in the absence of bugs. I mean, in the absence of bugs, the decomposition processes of nature would be extraordinarily out of balance and unchanged. Our soils would not be fertile. Diseases would arise through the decay, the change in the process. Things left to rot without, bacteria would, we're not talking. There you go. We wouldn't be able to live without bacteria, a lot of which I'm sure have a relationship with bugs. So, there you have it. Oh yeah, here's the river. There's a bunch of rocks anyway. It look like river rocks. I'm not really sure if this is a pathway that's meant to be taken. But too close to not do it, right? Unless it's... Actually, I don't even see... Oh yeah, there we go. We're good. It'd be really good if these commercials would stop. Just a little bit creative of a path here. Would be a lot easier if I didn't go to the skate park today. Here we go. Hell yeah. Went to that awesome skate park. It was one of the coolest skate parks I've ever been to. Oh yeah, check this out. Oh man. It sounds like chestnut-backed chickadees calling. I'm pretty sure. Hey, a frog in the water. See a message I just got. Alright, I'm going to take some pictures, so we'll be back to resume this video afterwards. GoPro, stop recording.